Hey y'all, and welcome back to Checked In with the Roundtrees. My name's Klasshey, and I am obsessed with all-inclusive resorts. So that's what I talk about on this channel. And today we're going to talk about something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that's rank some of my favorite resorts that are out there. So this is going to be honest, just my opinion. Now I will preface and say that all of these resorts are really good. They're ranked based off where I am in my life and my needs and what I like. So with that being said, we're going to talk about Sandals, we're going to talk about Secrets, we're going to talk about Excellence, and then we're going to talk about Hyatt. So just to put this out there so that there's no confusion, or if you didn't know, Hyatt actually bought AM Resorts, which was actually my favorite all-inclusive chain for a very long time. I actually got married in one of their resorts. But anyway, Hyatt bought out AM Resorts. So they have like the Secrets, the Dreams, that whole collection is now under Hyatt. We're going to judge them based off of 5 things. So the food, what's actually included in the price, the vibe, the value that you get for your money, and then who the resort is actually for. Okay, so coming in at number 4 is going to be Hyatt Ziva. Now, hear me out. It's actually a really great resort, but it is a kid-friendly resort. And like I told you, I'm basing this based off where I am in life right now, and we don't have kids. So when I go on vacation, I prefer to be at a adults only, no kids around. Even though I love kids and we want kids, I don't want to be around them right now because I don't have any. And so I like to experience my vacations with no kids. Now, I have been to many resorts where there are children and you still have a good time. Like 9 times out of 10, most resorts, even Ziva has most locations have a adults only area. So you have that option to get away from the kids if you want to. But I have been to many resorts and there are kids there, and it's not that bad of an experience. It's really not even bad at all. I just noticed that it is more relaxing. It's more peaceful. It's more my vibe, I'll say, if it's adults only right now in my life. So that's why I'm giving them number 4. But I will say if you're a family, Hyatt Ziva is actually a really great choice. The food is actually really good at Hyatt Ziva. So yeah, if you're planning a trip for your family or it's going to be multi-generations, then definitely Hyatt Ziva is a good choice. Okay, coming in at number 3, I might get some hate for this one, but I'm going to say Secrets, which says a lot. Secrets has a really loyal fan base, me being one of them, okay? I told you I used to love the the AM resorts. But I will say that when Hyatt bought that brand, to me, I noticed something different. Like I noticed something different in just the quality of the experience. Now, obviously, taking on that many resorts, I'm sure there was an adjustment period. But there were a few things that I noticed that I didn't like, some things that I did like. I am planning to continue to go to Secrets and Dreams and their resorts so that I could see what the experience is now after, it's been a while since they bought the brand. But I will say Secrets for number 3. Now, what I will say about Secrets is that they do have quite a bit of properties. Like they're in Mexico, they're in the Caribbean, they're even in places in Europe. So they have a lot of options for you. So that's something that I like about Secrets. The decor is always really, really nice. Even the older resorts, they're remodeling everything. So they always have a nice feel to it. Looks really upscale. I will say that I also enjoy that they have the 24-hour room service. Not all 24-hour room service is created equal. And that's a big thing for me because I'm a late night snacker, especially because I don't drink anymore. So, I indulge in the food. And some resorts, the 24-hour menu is just not good. Secrets, they do have a really good 24-hour menu. So I do appreciate that for sure. Something I will say is that when they were under AM Resorts, there was no reservations for dinner. Whenever Hyatt bought the brand, when I was traveling, I started to notice that they started to do reservations and they would do the little buzzer thing. And I never really liked that. I never liked the reservation method. I still don't like it even to this day. Y'all tell me your experience, but I just don't like it. Like trying to get to a resort and then having to book every restaurant that you want to go to. And then a lot of times, whatever the top restaurant is on that resort is usually booked, even before you get there. So I don't like the whole reservation thing at resorts. I feel like you should just go and wait until your table's ready. Now I will say most times here recently, it's only been like 1 or 2 times that I wasn't able to get into a restaurant that I really wanted. Not necessarily at Secrets. I'm just saying in general when a resort has reservations. But most times you can just show up and just wait, even if you don't have a reservation, they'll get you in. But sometimes that's not the case. So I don't like reservations. I prefer that we all just go, pull up on the restaurant you want to go to and wait, to be seated. But I will say, if you're part of the Hyatt rewards program, you can book Secrets with your Hyatt points because they own it. All right, so coming in at number 2, it's going to be Excellence. Now, I'm going to be honest, Excellence was almost my number 1 pick. Now, I'm going to be honest, Excellence was almost the number 1 pick for me, but I'm going to tell you why I put it at 2 instead. So Excellence is actually the smallest chain of all the 4 that we're talking about today. So they're mostly in Mexico and the Dominican Republic. And so since they have such a small footprint, I put them at number 2. But the good thing about that is what they do at those resorts is actually really good. They do it very well. Most times you're going to hear that the food at all-inclusive resorts are just like okay, not really anything to write home about. But Excellence, the food is actually raved about. It's one of those places where you're going to spend a little extra money, but you're going to get that money back in the experience you have with the food, which like I told you is important to me because I don't drink. So I like to enjoy the food when I'm on vacation. And besides the food, I do also like the design of the Excellence resorts. It's upscale. It's nice. I like that they have jacuzzis. And then you can also upgrade, which you can upgrade at pretty much all the resorts if you want that extra feel or that extra service, private lounges, things like that. But overall, I will say Excellence Resort is a great option. The only other thing I could think of is, you're limited, like I said. So like if you want to get to some other places in the Caribbean, they don't necessarily have an option for you. Okay, so my number 1 option is actually going to be Sandals. So hear me out before you jump in the comments so I can tell you my reasoning. I just feel like since Sandals has been around for so long, they have really perfected that whole couples feel. Like I told you, we don't have kids, so I enjoy the atmosphere that they do, the couples and the adults, just the atmosphere and the vibe. I feel like they capture that really well. And then also overall, why I picked them at number 1 is going to be what's actually included in the base price. So obviously the food, because at all of these resorts, the food is included, but also it's the drinks, right? They don't have just like that cheap well liquor. They actually have premium options for you. Even though I'm not a drinker, I know that's important to a lot of travelers. And so they have some really good options. Now, another thing that's also included is going to be the activities as far as motorized and non-motorized activities and sports, which at a lot of resorts, they don't have that. You usually have to pay additional for that. So I do enjoy the fact that that's also included because it gives you other things to do throughout your day without necessarily having to always book an excursion and try to keep yourself busy. Now, I don't golf or anything like that, but that is an option at some of the locations, and pretty much at every other resort that I've been to, when golf is available, you have to pay for it. It's not included. And so I do appreciate the fact that at select resorts, Sandals has it as an option as far as it being included in your base price. And then lastly, they also offer scuba diving. Now, I'm not a scuba diver. I'm not certified. I probably never will be. That's just something I'm not interested in. But that is also included in the base price, which is a really big deal, especially if you are big on scuba diving, just to be able to book a resort and then know that you can do that as part of the rate. That's really nice. And then also I'll say something that a lot of resorts are not doing is the transfers. So Sandals actually includes the transfers in your base rate. So I think that's really nice. Now, some resorts, they will offer like promotions depending on when you're booking. But as far as like a standard and what's included in the base rate, Sandals does include transportation. So that's just my opinion. I will say that Sandals, when we're talking about all-inclusive and taking a trip that's going to have the most included in that base price, I feel like Sandals takes the lead on that. So here's what I'll say based on a recap if I was you and I wanted to choose one of these resorts. I would say book Sandals if you want the most included for the amount of money that you're going to pay. And then I would say book Secrets if you are booking adults only. You're big on like the spa and the wellness and just being able to relax. I would say go with Secrets. I would say book Excellence if you're big on the food, if that's like your highlight of your trip. is what you eat, then definitely go with Excellence. And then lastly, book Hyatt Ziva if you are a family or there's going to be kids on your trip. Now, there are many other resorts that we could talk about and that we can continue to rank, but let me know just out of these four what you think in the comments. Are you thinking the same thing I'm thinking, or am I completely wrong and you have your own opinion? I want to hear it in the comments, because just sharing our experiences is going to help each other book, trips that we're going to enjoy. We don't want to spend all of our money and go somewhere and we don't have a great time. I've definitely had those times. We could talk about that another day. But definitely leave your experiences and your opinion in the comments.